Hello, and welcome to Math Matters. I'm Dr. Jameson, and today we're going to use the arrays you made previously as we think about how we can use facts that we know to help us figure out other multiplication facts that we might not know. If you did not get a chance to make the arrays from the previous lesson, that's okay. You can make them as we go, or you can make them after the lesson's over. You'll need the following materials today: your bag with the arrays that you created, some paper, something to write with, and scissors if you need to make the arrays as we go. I'll give you a minute to gather those materials. Welcome back. In the last session, I asked you to make arrays for these numbers. We're going to use this information to see what they look like and talk about some things that we are noticing. Like I said before, if you missed the last session or did not get a chance to make these arrays, don't worry. You can make them as we go or at the end of the lesson. A good reminder is, after we finish making all of our arrays over the next couple of days, we want to make sure that they're in a safe place because we're going to be using them to play games with. So make sure you keep them in a good place, like a plastic bag. So let's take a look at this array for the product of 4. For the product of 4, there are two different arrays. The first is a 1 by 4 or a 4 by 1, and the second is a 2 by 2 array. Your array should look similar to the one shown here. For the product of 6, there are two arrays. The first is a 1 by 6 or a 6 by 1, and the second one is a 2 by 3 or a 3 by 2 array. Your array should look something like the ones shown on the screen. For the product of 12, there are 3 arrays. Did you find all 3? The 1 by 12 or 12 by 1, the 2 by 6 or the 6 by 2, the 3 by 4 or the 4 by 3. For the product of 24, there are 4 different arrays, but we only asked you to create 3 of the 4. Your array should look similar to the ones that are shown here. You should have the 2 by 12 or the 12 by 2, the 3 by 8 or the 8 by 3, the 4 by 6 or the 6 by 4. Take a moment to write down a few things you notice about today's arrays. In the previous lesson, you learned about how to solve for the product of multiplying a number by 1. Today we're going to use the facts that we know along with doubling to solve facts that we do not know. So you're going to be using a doubling strategy to really solve these problems. So as we go through today's lesson, see if we discuss anything that you wrote down as a noticing. I'm going to ask you to get out these following arrays: the 1 by 6 or 6 by 1, the 2 by 6 or the 6 by 2, the 4 by 6 or the 6 by 4. Take a deeper look at this. Take a minute to explore these 3 different arrays. What relationships are you noticing? So I'm going to ask you to take your 1 by 6 array and lay it on top of your 2 by 6 array like this. How are these 2 arrays related? Did you notice the 2 by 6 is twice the size of a 1 by 6? Let's look at this a little different. If you know that the 1 by 6 is equal to 6, you can then double the 6, or add 6 and 6 to get 12. So 2 groups of 6 equals 12. And we know 2 times 6 equals 12. You can use a doubling strategy to help you solve facts you don't know yet. Let's see how we might use 2 times 6 to help us solve another multiplication fact. So now take out your 2 by 6 array, and I want you to lay that 2 by 6 array on top of your 4 by 6 array, like this. How are these 2 related to each other? Did you notice that the 4 by 6 is twice the size, or 2 times the size, or double the size of the 2 by 6? So let's look at this a little closer. Since we know that 2 times 6 is 12, we can then double the 12, or add 12 and 12, to get 24. So 4 groups of 6 is 24, and 4 times 6 equals 24. You can solve this problem by using the facts that you know from 2 times 6. What are other arrays you can use to help you solve using this doubling strategy? Now I'm going to ask you to get out some other arrays. The 2 by 3, the 3 by 2, the 3 times 4, the 4 by 3, the 3 by 8, and the 8 by 3. Let's look at another way we can use the doubling strategy. Are you noticing some relationships between them? Here are some things you may have noticed. Take your 3 by 2 array and lay it on top of your 3 by 4 array. Did you notice? The 3 by 4 is twice the size of the 3 by 2. It takes 2 of the 3 by 2 arrays to cover the 3 by 4 array. So if you know that 3 times 2 is equal to 6, you can then double the 6 or add 6 and 6 to get 12. So 3 groups of 4 equals 12, and 3 times 4 equals 12. Let's look at this a little more deeply. So if you know that 3 times 2 is equal to 6, you can then double the 6 or add 6 and 6 to get 12. So 3 groups of 4 equals 12, and you can solve this problem by using the facts that you know from 3 times 2. How might we use the 3 by 4 array to figure out what 3 times 8 is? Take a moment and explain it to yourself or to someone in the room. Two of the 3 by 4 arrays is the same as one of the 3 by 8 arrays. You can use what you know about 3 times 4 to solve 3 times 8 by doubling the product of 12 to get to 24. Are you seeing how they are related? Here we can see it in another way. We can see that 3 times 8 is the same as 3 times 4 and another 3 times 4. If we know that 3 times 4 is 12, then we know to get 3 times 8, we just double the 12 to get 24. So 3 times 8 has to equal 24. So let's practice a little bit. Take a moment to figure out what 2 times 5 is. If we know that 2 times 5 is 10, how can we use that to figure out what 4 times 5 is? Think about our doubling strategy. If you double 2, you get 4. That means you are doubling the amount of groups you have. So then you double the product of 10 to get the new product of 20. So 4 times 5 is equal to 20. So 4 times 5 is equal to 20. Then what is 8 times 5 equal to? If we double the 4 to 8, then that doubles the amount of groups we have. So then we double the 20 to get to 40. So 8 times 5 is 40. Today we explored how we can use the idea of doubling to help us figure out our multiplication facts. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we learned about multiplication today. On a piece of paper, use words, pictures, or symbols to explain how the doubling strategy can help you solve your multiplication facts. Go ahead, write it down now. Take a moment to make sure you have a piece of paper and a pencil to write down your homework. Before tomorrow, we need you to create the array cards for those shown on the screen. So make sure you copy them down. So you're making array cards for 10, 20, 30, and 40. Tomorrow, we will use these to explore another strategy. See if you can figure it out. And remember, we will be playing games with the array cards once we have them all. So as you create a card, place it in a safe place, like your bag. I hope you have a mathematical day and keep on counting. I'm Dr. Jameson.